Testing. Hello, Pesh. Hello. A drone has too much sub-frequency information in it. I probably would automate this later on because I like it at the start, but for now it's muddying things up too much. 4 a.m. in the UK. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, dude. I need to find a time where you're actually awake. What the hell are you doing awake, man? Want that piano to poke through a little more. Well, dude, I'm glad you're awake at 4 a.m. I was awake at 4 a.m. not of my choice because of my daughter screaming the other day, and I didn't enjoy it. So I hope this is more enjoyable than that. All right, to make this piano poke through a bit more, I'm going to put some compression on it that lets the transient through. It's a fairly long release. Light ratio. Just subtle stuff. So I can hear the attack of the note a bit better now. Go to sleep, Untold. Good to see you again though, man. These streams are so random. I'm sorry. I literally am just hitting the stream button at random times. I should come up with some kind of schedule. Okay, so this is cool because I'm moving away from the pedal note of C in the bass that drones the whole time. And at bar 24 is where I finally get off that pedal note. It's a cool moment. Should be a cool moment when I'm done with it. This little synth thing I like, and I think I might change the notes and add it to the next section. I'll make that follow the chord structure. Okay, if I hold my finger down, it gives me unnecessary sub bass. I just want the hits. Thanks, man. I do like those horns. I'm not feeling 100% happy with them at the moment. I think I need to look at the EQ of them. When I'm maxing them out, I'm not getting enough of that bite. So I think I might have rolled off the high frequencies a bit too much. I definitely want some horns in there somewhere that lead into this new part at 24 because, hey man, when you're talking about Goosebumps, you got to have horns in there, man, right? Something like that, but not quite that. Oh, awesome. Looking forward to hearing it. Multimokia. That's how you say it. Oh, see, that's cool. FabFilter. I love FabFilter, man. All their stuff is amazing. Yeah. It's a good discount. That's awesome, Untold. Yeah, horn swells. I always fall into this trap of writing stuff that's got way too much sustain in it. It's way too slow, and it sometimes can be difficult to make it sound interesting. I need to bring in more counter melodies and movement from now on, I think. Otherwise, it gets really boring. I just naturally like this kind of music, though, that's just open and sort of emotional. Yeah. I think it's a bit overwhelming sometimes because there are so many options. It's like, ooh. But it's fun. I love it. This sounds like about 10 other tracks I know. Well, it sounds similar. Gotta get more movement happening from here. Every time I play this plucked piano patch, it screws up my computer for about 30 seconds. I think it's alright now. Yeah, string runs are a pain. Placeholder melody. We'll leave it for now. That's the first thing I've done. I'm like, okay, it's not totally terrible. Let's see. Apart from some random stuff here and there. That's trumpets and horns unison at the moment. A little bit intense, but whatever. inject some life into the MIDI later. It's all pretty static at the moment. Yeah. See, that flat horn note should be like this. Near, die down, come back. But I'll sort that out later. Thought I heard a note hanging on there somewhere. Sustain pedal on the cellos. Go away. Alright, cellos are getting a bit muddy in this part. I can't continue that same spiccato line as I did before because everything's moving up a bit now, and if I stay down that low, it's just going to get too muddy. Probably keep the same rhythm, maybe, just change the notes. Are you stalking me, Serge? G'day, man. Black Coyote. Did I say it right, man? Or did I say it right? Gotta fix that brass lead in, it's bugging me. I don't really want any there, but something needs to go there. There's a nice little counter da 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 there that I want to emphasize in another instrument. Could be violas, could be a choir, could be could be something emotional. Oh, yes. The mix is really muddy and messy at the moment. I'm really aware of that as well. But I'll fix that when I get a bit further down the track. Hey, Peter. Thanks. Alejandro. Night. Wow, sorry about that. Thanks, Peter. Just trying to bang something out at the moment. Okay, I'll check Twitter, Multi-Mokia. Because this is such a full track at the moment, I don't want that cello to sound too full. I want it to just be blended in. I know, Kyle. I suck. I know. Good to see you though, man. Might let the cello stop for a bit, have a break, let other things come through. Obviously I got percussion and all sorts of stuff to add to this yet. Just trying to map out a bit of a harmonic plan. Oh, that's not the Blakis cello that you know. It's like a supercharged pocket Blakis that I made for myself. I think I want to thicken out my brass a little bit. Hey, it's sounding a bit thin, like frequency-wise. I'll be right back. I'm just getting a drink. I'm gonna experiment with this AFK screen and play you what I've done so far. Alright, I'm back. Yes, that's the same empty bowl, man. I know, right? See you, Kyle. Thanks for joining. I feel like I want that synth to cut through more. Yeah, man. Aussie. Aussie full show. It's only like 1:30 in the Arvo here. But I'm gonna watch Game of Thrones tonight too, so don't give me any spoilers, man. It's like the highlight of my week. I know, right? So I'm sorry we live on the other side of the planet on a deserted, useless island, man. I really am. Let's try an EQ with a bit more bite. Yeah, me either, Kyle. API has some good bite. You legend. Some people are bad with spoilers, man. Like, I don't trust so many people on my Facebook feed. They just post whatever they want, man. I like how fat this synth's sounding, but at times the bass is just poking through way too much and muddying stuff up. I'm getting into mixing stuff here, and I probably shouldn't. I'll leave it for now. No, I won't. I'll do something about it. Thanks, man. Hey, Ashton, I didn't see you sneak in, bro. Always like to give the horns or whatever a bit of a lead-in note before they start doing a big line, especially if it's up on a slightly higher register. I'll make it more simple though. Let's do a big typical French horn slur. What is going on there? Oh, I've got my trumpet selected as well. No wonder. That's what I was going to do. I was going to thicken out my brass. It sounds a bit wimpy. Like EQ wise. Way too much reverb, I know. Oh, I should mention too, the frequencies you guys are hearing. I have a room EQ on my monitor output chain here, which I think you guys are hearing. So you're not, it probably is compromised a little bit, the frequency balance. Like, I'll show you what I mean. Here is the EQ that I have over my whole master bus for this room. Oh, what the hell? Look at that. What a mess. Now that's just, so I've used reference 3 SonarWorks to capture the frequency response to this room, and this just counters that and any problem. So it looks crazy, it's because it's complicated, but the actual decibel differences that it's making are not huge, but it all adds up. So I think you're hearing this EQ over everything in the stream, which isn't ideal, but meh, you'll have to put up with it. Highly recommend SonarWorks reference stuff, by the way, for either headphones, especially for headphones actually, and monitors, like just for tuning your room and making sure that what you're hearing is actually what the rest of the world would probably hear. It'll help your mixing a lot. So because reference 3 uses a lot of CPU power, I've actually captured the curves that it created in using EQ Match in Pro Q2 in FabFilter. So it's not quite as good as the processing that reference 3 does to the audio, in its automatic curve that it applies. But for me, the CPU usage was just a bit too much. So I mean, here's the reference 3. It's the same curve, but I've just replicated it by running pink noise through it. I'll turn it EQ off and see if you can hear any difference out there. You might not be able to. I definitely hear it in this room here. It just sounds real muddy all of a sudden when I deactivate it. So I should point out that this EQ doesn't get applied to my audio at all when I export it. This EQ is purely just for my listening and mixing purposes so that I make better decisions in the mix. When I export it, bypasses this EQ. But unfortunately for the stream, you guys hear that EQ on top of everything. Unless I can figure out a way to get rid of that. Obviously, it's going to be louder. hard to compare because of the volume difference, but what you heard then is actually what is more as a more true version of what I'm actually making and hearing in here. But for now, I have to leave it on, otherwise I go nuts. Sorry. So it compromises your audio a little bit. Yeah, it's supposed to sound nicer without it. Um, it's definitely it's just purely in my room that it doesn't sound nice without it. But the whole point of it is that it will sound nicer for everybody and everybody else in the world without it. But it, uh, it means that I will be able to make better decisions when I mix. Um, yeah, look it up sometime. It's pretty cool stuff. That's just FabFilter Pro Q2. Sorry, but the ones I use to capture is called um SonarWorks Reference 3. It comes with a microphone and you point it and you measure like sound coming out of your speakers at like 24 to 30 or 40 different points in the room. And then what it says is, oh, we noticed that in this room with these speakers at your listening position, that you're actually hearing a lot more of this frequency and not as much of this frequency and because of that, you're probably making bad mixing decisions. We're going to put this EQ curve on your whole system to balance it out so that you should be hearing now a more flat frequency balance, which means that now when I try to make stuff sound good in here with that curve applied, it will sound probably good everywhere else. Whereas before this, I would make stuff that sounded really good in here, not being aware that my room had deficiencies in its frequencies. And then I would hear it somewhere else and be like, what? That's not what it sounded like for me in my room. But now because of this, I get way better translation. I highly recommend it for headphones. I use my DT770 Pros. Um, and this software also has a headphone module that I've had these individually calibrated, but you can go in and just select your model of headphones. And it's got a lot of common models in there. They've measured heaps of them. And because not all headphones are the same and they all have frequency differences. Um, and what this does is it flattens out your headphones so that if you same kind of thing. It makes it so that if you were to mix and it sounds good on here, then it'll sound good everywhere else. So yeah, man, I couldn't live without it now. Actually, even top studios that have finely tuned rooms with amazing gear and equipment, a lot of them still use some form of room EQ as well, like what I'm doing here, to balance out the any deficiencies that they have in their room. So it's not really a cheating thing. Some people are purists are against it. They think, nah, it's not that cool. But for me, it's a game changer, especially for people like me who work in a small room or on headphones. It's amazing. It'll make a huge difference to the way you work. Yeah, look it up, Ashton. Dude, when I started getting into it, just instantly my mixes started improving. I wasn't really realizing how much I was fighting against deficiencies in my setup. So it was actually cool because when the other thing that's good about it is when you measure your frequencies of your room, um, see, I can see here that as a just a symptom of this room, I have because this is the correction that's applying. Actually, let me show you. This is the actual frequency response of my room. I've got a bump at like 50 hertz and then a bump at about 110 hertz and in the low mids. So what that meant was that I was always cutting out way too many low mids in my music, and then it would sound thin and weak out in the real world. But with the EQ applied, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And now when I hear good low mids in here with the EQ applied, then it's going to sound good everywhere else. Yeah, it's something that it's not a lot of people talk about it, but it's huge. Um, it's actually a really big deal. This used to be a lot worse. In my room, they say if your room is within 6 decibels of being on that line, then your room's pretty much nearly as good as it's going to get. As you can see, the highest peaks I have are just over 6, and for the tiny room that I'm in, that's actually pretty damn good. Um, so it used to be I used to get peaks up to 12 and dips down to 12 dB until I started applying heaps of room treatment in here. I mean, I've got heaps of room treatment. I'm surrounded by it, but it made a huge difference. So it just makes you aware of the situation that you're mixing in, which is like really cool. So I can see here that with my room, my high frequencies are actually higher than what would be expected for a flat frequency response. And I think that's because of my monitors, my Atom A777X. I think they have a really nice ribbon tweeter, but that has a symptom of being slightly brighter than, than should be. So I've got to be careful that I don't make my mixes too dull because that's giving me a brighter sound. Um, but by using this room EQ, I don't have to think about it anymore. I just make whatever I think sounds good now with this room EQ on, and it just works. Sorry about that big speech. I'm passionate about that stuff, man. I don't work for SonarWorks Reference. There's other software out there called Arc, made by IK Multimedia. Arc 2, room correction. Don't get it. it's it's not as good. I tried it. I used it for a year. It was good until SonarWorks came out, and now they're the kings. They are the kings. Oh, if you are using headphones, and you don't want to spend any money, you can use Tone Boosters. They just brought out a plugin. Look for it, toneboosters.com. This guy he makes sick plugins, but he just brought out something that's kind of in competition to SonarWorks, but it's just for headphones. And for free you can download it. You just can't save presets, but it doesn't matter because there's already inbuilt presets for each set of headphone in there, and you just go in and actually let me look up what it's called. Tone Boosters Morphit. Morphit. Here it is. Amazing plugin. I actually compared it with the SonarWorks one on my headphones. It was pretty much exactly the same. And for free, this could change your life, man. If you're someone who mixes on headphones a lot, it's really cool. So the cool thing is with my headphones on, with using that software, and my speakers now using that software as well, when I swap from headphones to speakers, it sounds exactly the same. It freaks me out. Like, it sounds exactly how you think it should, like, whereas when I used to listen on headphones, it would sound way different, and I was checking to make sure it was still working okay. But it just removes that whole doubt from your mind. It's awesome. And then when I go listen in the car, or if I go and listen on a massive sound system, it sounds the way you'd expect it to. So yeah, man, I'm a huge fan. By the way, that Morphit plugin by Tone Boosters, if it does work for you, I'd buy it. It's only like $20 or something, I think. And that stops you from having to load your preset every time. Um, Very affordable. But if you're keen on getting it for your speakers, then get the SonarWorks stuff as well. Yeah, that's not cheap. The SonarWorks version isn't cheap. So, uh, but I think that $300 must be for the headphone and the monitor module. I'm not sure though. Unfortunately, with music, the production and mixing side of it is sadly more important than your actual composition side of it. You will be much more likely to get something placed in a trailer or whatever if it's got good production than if it's actually a good track. Sad, but true. But very well worth investing time in. If you're someone who's wanting to start to take your music up to the next level, don't ignore the production side of things. I think I've got more opportunities so far from my ability to make samples or produce the samples more than my skill in actually writing with the samples, which is sad but true. But I'm working on the writing side of it. Yeah, dude, if you mix on headphones, Pesh, you need to get that plugin like right now. Morph it. Just get the free one for the tone boosters. Don't be fooled by the price these days, guys. I'm using so many free plugins these days that are better than ones that cost hundreds of dollars. Here you go. You guys that are on now, that are up late over wherever you are, let me give you some bonus tips. Plugins that are free or cheap that are just the bomb. Are you ready? Let me try and figure out what they are first. Anything from Tokyo Dawn Records. At the moment, this is my favorite EQ by far. I use it on everything. Very, very well built EQ. Amazing. I don't even have to tell you anything about it. It's just, and it's free. You can upgrade to a version with slightly more features for a very reasonable price. Uh, all of the TDR stuff, the Tokyo Dawn Records. I use Nova. You would have seen me use that on it's a multi-band kind of EQ. It's a dynamic EQ, which is like a multi-band compressor kind of. It's amazing. It's free, but you can pay for an upgrade version as well. Um, what else have I got here? I'm just looking through my plugin list. Stuff that is free or really cheap and amazing. The mastering EQ from Tokyo Dawn Records, amazing. I use that on every single master that I put out. Same thing. TDR, look them up, get on it. This tape emulation from Tone Boosters, the same guy, is to my ears better than all the other tape emulations, and it's cheap. You can get a demo for free. I think he calls it Real Bus. What else have we got there? You want to make stuff sound bigger? Get OTT from X for whatever they call themselves. Just a ridiculously over the top multi-band compressor. Sounds sick on drum stems and all sorts of stuff. Even, yeah, gotta be careful. Oh man, anything from Klangelm or whatever his name is. So good. But yeah, man, there's some little guys out there at the moment, plug-in developers that are making stuff that is just mind-blowing. These big companies like Waves and all them, yeah, they're actually not bad, and I use a lot of their stuff as well. But yeah, cheap doesn't always mean nasty these days, which is cool for us. Klanghelm, I think he calls himself. He makes a really cool compressor called MJUC, which is one of the best compressors I've heard in a computer. This thing. It's actually 3 compressors in one. Very Mu compressor. I think they're the main free/cheap ones that I use. Can't find anything else more here at the moment. I don't use VSL actually. Some of their stuff's pretty good. In fact, I've been tempted multiple times to reinstall their woodwinds because I really like them back when I used them a while ago. But I haven't missed their strings and brass too much. But they definitely make great stuff. In my template, I've got a lot of cine brass. And a lot of custom stuff for strings and brass at the moment. Oh, my bad. No, not VE Pro. I used to a lot. I think I only use a single machine, but I love the idea of being able to host everything cleanly inside VE Pro. I think for some people, it's probably a really good idea. I just upgraded my computer and I found no need for it anymore. I found that it was just another layer of complexity I didn't need. I'm on Windows on Cubase, so the multi-core management is really top notch. I'm running 300 instances of Contact with no issues. Um, so and it only takes me maximum 90 seconds to load a project, but usually about a minute, which is more than fine for me. I usually just go get a drink or something. So I'm enjoying being freed from VE Pro a little bit. But in saying that, I do actually think it's pretty cool software as well. So if you're finding that you're struggling with CPU usage, VE Pro can help sometimes. But also, it's nice just being able to have your whole template loaded and switch projects really quickly. But a minute is not too long for me to put up with. My machine. Let me give you a link. I'll give you a link in chat here to a page that tells you about my setup. All right, time to fill out my strings, spiccatos, and my percussion, I think, in this section. Not going for anything groundbreaking here. I'm just trying to make a half decent track. I don't really have a need for an assistant, eh, Charles? I one of the reasons, the main reason I couldn't have an assistant is if you, I don't, you can probably tell from that camera angle that this room ain't the biggest room in the world. I don't even know where I'd fit an assistant. This is just a glorified bedroom, man. But I've got everything pretty set up so that there's not probably not too much need for one at the moment. Maybe when I start getting bigger jobs, it might become a thing in the future, though. Who knows? Man, 128 gigs of RAM. You judging me, bro? Uh, jams. Yeah, look, I just didn't want to have to worry about it. Peter, my bed is not in here. I built a new house. Well, I didn't build it, but we got it built with my wife, and the deal always was, "Can I please just have one little bedroom for my music?" And at that stage, I was a full-time teacher, and she's like, it was just a hobby. Yeah, sure, okay, yes. But now that I'm doing it full time, wishing it was a little bit bigger. But that's just me complaining. Really, I've got nothing to complain about. This is more than enough what I need. So 24. I used 24 gigs for a long time too. And then 32 gigs. To be honest, you could do everything I do here with 32 gigs. You just have to disable a bunch of the tracks that you're not using. It would work fine. It is refreshing to be able to just have everything there. And I can just leave it all in RAM and it's fine. It works. She doesn't complain it's too loud. That's a really good question because I went to a lot of effort to try and make sure that the noise was contained in here. I've like sealed the door so good. I got a solid thick door. It's got like it's sealed so well that when you open and close it, it's got like suction. You can feel it going. So it blocks out a lot of the noise. She can hear sub noise sometimes, but she never complains about it. Probably because actually I don't know why. She's pretty good about it. I'd probably complain if I was her. Yeah, all active. Wait, what are we talking about? All active. As in speaker system or all tracks active, maybe. Yeah. See you, Black Coyote. 6 a.m. Choo. Go to bed, man. Or are you or are you just have you already woken up? Yeah, the tracks are all they're all active. I built this template in mind with individual contact instances so that I could disable tracks. But then when I finished the template, I realized I didn't really need to disable them anyway. But I do love the mixing capabilities that separate contact instances give me. So for each, let's have a look here. For every track. Oh, dude, I hope you get some sleep, bro. That's a late bedtime. Damn. So look, I've got one instance of contact here, and the only thing that's in it is my little cello patch. Seems like a waste, but then that just lets me have a clean output in Cubase that I can then mix and do whatever and group if I want to in Cubase, and I can disable it if I want to or freeze it if I'm running out of CPU and stuff like that. I will admit that I do like that cello sound, and I feel like it can do things that no other cello sound can do. But I put a lot of effort into playing those when I recorded them. Feels so satisfying just being able to hit a key and know that I'm not spending any energy to reproduce that anymore. Or I feel like I'd be selling my soul if I made that patch available to everybody. It's real simple. There's no legato in it, but I don't really miss legato, to be honest. I'm all about the tone and the texture of the actual samples of the ringing note itself. You give him Firstborn for a copy. Jeez, that's a high price, man. Telling me your birthday now, Peter? Yeah, it's not bad, hey Ashton. I really love it, man. It's if you've played with my free Pocket Blakes instrument, it's the exact same concept. If you can get access to a player that can just play simple sustained notes with that kind of emotion in them, you can just join them together in Kontakt so easy. Yeah. It's like a cheat instrument, you know what I mean? I add it to anything and instantly there's way more emotion in the whole track. doesn't handle fast notes well. I didn't really design it for that. I just designed it for emotional stuff because that's what I mainly write. So been on PC forever actually. I've used Macs a lot though as well, but never for music production for some reason. I hate paying more than I have to for stuff. So for me, I do love Macs and I've got no issues against them, but I just see this PC setup that I just bought now is way more powerful than the Mac Pro at the moment, but I got it for less than half the price. So I just struggle to pay Apple so much money for stuff that I just feel is overpriced, like the hardware itself. They make really cool packaged stuff, but I just can't justify it. Okay, maybe I was showing off a little bit. I'm sorry. I've had friends actually come up to me before and say, "Can you record some cello on my track?" Just like, demos or something. Yeah, sure. There you go. Oh, thanks, man. That's so good. Anytime. It took me like 30 seconds. I still haven't told them to this day that it wasn't a real cello, but hey. Hopefully they're not watching this video. Yeah, so yeah, I agree. Lots of reverb on there at the moment because of this weird track I'm doing. I love Hollywood strings and I love Cinematic Studio strings. I think they're amazing. Cinematic Studio strings is pretty impressive in particular, but a lot of people overlook Hollywood strings, and I know it's in play, which isn't ideal and stuff like that, but I still think it's one of the better libraries out there. Same with Hollywood Brass. I feel like for me, my favorite brass commercial library is Hollywood Brass. Um, I don't know. I mean, yeah, especially the horns. The horns in Hollywood Brass are really good. I haven't tried any of the latest orchestral tool stuff actually. I haven't tried Berlin Brass. I like what I've heard of it though. But yeah. Haven't tried Soaring Strings either actually. Tried their Adventure Strings. I did a demo for that. But the Soaring Strings do sound really nice in the demo. If I really the Hollywood String Hollywood Brass combo is pretty killer to me. I just think it's programmed really well. Um, the sound isn't like the recordings aren't its strong point, but they're definitely good enough, and you can work with them. But it's hard to find libraries that are programmed well these days. I find they're all a bit finicky. Ring. I don't teach at all anymore. I did last year, and for the last 5 years, I was a full-time school teacher, teaching 8 and 9-year-olds all day. Loved it. Teaching, like, I was their classroom teacher, so I taught maths, English, year 3 kids, everything, science. It's good fun, a lot of hard work though, and I did this on the weekends and the evenings, but now I just, this year, I write full-time. Aussies for the win. They're coming out of the woodwork. I like it. No way, RD guitar. That's awesome, man. I loved it. I thought it was good teaching, but there's a lot of things I didn't like about it, but that was all paperwork side of stuff. Yeah, I do miss the interaction with the kids side of it, and the actual teaching is fun. Sorry, guys. I keep getting sidetracked by interacting and chatting, but hope you're not getting too annoyed. Why does this patch break my computer every time? Teaching and working at the same time. The best thing I can suggest that worked for me was when you get those school breaks, you know, those 2 weeks breaks, the holidays, or as we're supposed to call them, non-term periods, use the crap out of them. So in the Christmas break over 6 weeks, I would just bury myself in music for 6 weeks. And then when school started again, I'd only touch it here and there during the evenings and just relax kind of with it. Casual learning, I guess, more so than actual productivity. But that casual learning time is where I think that's really important. Yeah, hopefully the Pocket Breaker still works. I haven't even looked at it for years now. I'm sure it still puts out some kind of sound. Yeah, I was full time, so I found that pretty draining. I did like the idea of casual RD. Um, that's the cool thing about that career path as being a teacher is you can actually get into a situation where you work as much as you kind of want to, which is perfect for if you're wanting to build a music empire on the side. You know what I mean? Ah, world domination. See you, Charles. Thanks for joining, man. If you're watching on Twitch, by the way, I'm streaming to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So, um, I do see your chat messages, but if you're wondering who I'm talking to the YouTube crew. Uh, so just so you know, I'm not being a weirdo talking to myself. Yeah, the teaching is weird like that. There's not many professions where you can choose how much you want to work. Jeez, need to work on my keyboard chops. Okay, let me catch up here. Sorry. Yeah, I like the idea of Twitch. I love their interaction and stuff over there. It would be cool to, like, I love watching Deadmau5 over there. He's got a cool channel, pretty active. But apart from him, the other creative stuff seems a bit dead. I don't really teach Cubase. I don't consider myself a master at it at Springfield. If you got any questions about it, though, I'm happy to try and help. There's heaps of good YouTube sort of videos out there on it, which is pretty cool. Australian composing scene and work opportunities. It's really weird, Ring Champ. I've not really, all of my opportunities have come from overseas internationally. The scene's different over here in Australia. I'm trying at the moment to make connections in Australia, but it's funny how it's harder for me to make connections here in the country I live than it is overseas. So luckily, luckily because of the internet these days, it doesn't matter where you live. As long as you're capable of doing the job, you will get the work. So that's cool. Yeah, and that's true, RD. You don't really choose when you work. I guess depends how in demand you are. Um, NBN for the win. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do some of the work I do if I didn't have stable internet, so I'm pretty thankful for that at the moment. FL Studio looks great, and if you can produce stuff in it, stick with it, man. I know a bunch of other guys that use FL Studio that are smashing it. That's the thing, man. It doesn't matter what tools you have. What matters is knowing how to actually use them. And if it's actually doing what you want it to do, then stick with it, man. I would only ever switch if I saw, many convincing reasons to. Like it would speed if it was going to speed up your workflow massively, or if your other software was becoming limited. Yeah, my rig handles video really nicely. I just started another Battlefront 2 trailer this morning. And I chuck it up on my main video monitor up here, and it runs. It's like it doesn't really have any effect on my CPU. I don't notice any added stress on it or anything like that, which is cool. Yeah, I've been quite lucky. I've got a bunch of Battlefront 2 trailers to do, Peter. So I'm stoked. I did that. I did their latest big gameplay trailer, which was a fun project, man. Those Dice trailer editors, EA, so what's mainly I think it was the Dice EA Dice guys. They know how to make a trailer, man. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I'll link it. I love it. I think it's a great trailer. Um, so these next trailers I'm doing for them are just like um pre-order push trailers they're calling them, where it's just yeah. Anyway, they're just shorter ones, but they're good fun. Um, I don't at the moment. I have no desire to score any films. Games do intrigue me a little bit. Well, if someone came along and said, "Here, score this film," and it was a sick film, I would take it for sure. But at the moment, I'm feeling very happy with what I'm doing because I feel like it's pushing me. Like the guys that I'm doing work for currently have high standards, and I'm feeling the pressure. But I like that. I like being able to just try and make 2 minutes of music and make it sound the best that I can. Um, I think it's good for my production skills at the moment and for my learning. So not having to push out copious amounts of music lets me really kind of hone in and figure stuff out and just keep trying to get better. So I'm really loving the advertising world at the moment. So, but I think end game goal would probably be eventually to make the change and start taking on more game/film projects. Publisher is good. Uh because it helps you actually get your stuff out there. Without it, you won't get your stuff heard, let alone used. So totally recommend trying to find one. The way I found one was by not trying to find one. Well, I said to myself, I'm gonna just dump my stuff online, and if it, uh, I want, and I figured I want to make it so good that someone out there won't be able to ignore it. And while it wasn't that great, but someone out there didn't ignore it, so I was thankful for that. And so the really slow motion guys, they picked me up really early on, and that was a really cool opportunity for me. So I just ran with it. I don't know if that's a great strategy from I think you probably do need to push yourself out there a little bit. But what I would do is get a collection of tracks, maybe 3 to 5, that you are really proud of, that represent the best that you can do. Compare it to other trailer music out there. Do you think it holds up? If it does, then go for it. If you still yourself can tell that your music is not quite as high quality as, you know, well, is not anywhere near the quality. If it's close, then yeah, keep going for it. But I wouldn't rush into it. I mean, I know it's tempting to rush into it, but uh, I would concentrate on getting as good as you can and keep getting better. It's publishers suck. They take half your money, but you need them. There's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't even get any money in a lot of occasions if it wasn't for them. So yeah, And then once you start getting work with the publishers, then you can branch out away from the publishers. But I think if you're looking at going in a similar route the way that I'm going, then you probably need a publisher to start with. And I still use them, but I'm now starting to get opportunities directly with certain companies, which is really cool because there's no middleman, um, which I'm really excited about. So yeah. Oh right, I haven't heard of them. See, I need to do more research on that. RD, Australian Music Publishers Association. I'll check them out. Monitors for Cubase. All four of my monitors are for Cubase. That one shows me plugins and analyzers and stuff. This one's my main working window. That one there is a mixing window. The one at the top, you can probably see, is also a mixing window down the bottom. Top left of this big screen I usually use for video when I'm not full screening. Top right is where I normally have my producer slash director notes for the trailers and stuff like that, where they give me their instructions. But yeah, bits of Cubase are on all four of my screens at the moment. So much reverb. What do I do with so much reverb? What I end up finding is I write with heaps of reverb and then I turn it off when I'm finished and then I just bring back as much as needed. For some reason, I find it more inspiring to work in a wash of reverb, but it's not really a great mixing technique. Go to sleep, Untold. Thanks, man, for hanging around again. Have a good sleep. Reverb plugin is Valhalla Room. I'm using that for everything at the moment. Another cheap plugin. Should have added that to my plugin blurb earlier. Cheap plugin that wins. Yeah, totally worth it, Peter. Look for the preset I'm using for this at the moment. It's called Blade Runner. It's like 9 seconds long. I only ever use it on really massively sustained, long, open tracks like this. I never do, Ring Champ. My cello has not left its case for a number of months. I don't find any need to. Hey, I should, but I'm a lazy bugger. Brass at the moment, the main stuff you're hearing is not commercial libraries. It's custom stuff. See you, Peter. Thanks for joining, man. Nice chatting. Hey, Ev. Oh, man, I don't want to try and say your name because I'm going to stuff it up, but it looks pretty. Ev Jenny? Good to see you on here. Evany with a silent G? I don't know. You'll have to teach me. Just filling out stuff at the moment, guys. It's not extremely exciting to watch. Just slowly building the layers, trying to fill it out. Stuff like, I usually play in everything, but at the moment, there's no need to play in these bass notes. They're all just long sustained, so I'm just computering it up with my mouse and keyboard at the moment. Whatever does the job, I say. Hey, someone on Twitch. Hey, how you doing, man? That cello is starting to get in the way of everything a bit, but I want it to still be intense. I'm going to pan it a little more to the right and drop its volume a tiny bit and see if we can still hear it playing that counter melody. 6:40 in Germany. Oh, man, you're up early, or are you up late? YouTube crowd, if you're wondering who I'm talking to, there's someone on Twitch, so I'm talking to them. Do I mix two stems, Springfield? Stems come out of it at the end, but I don't think too much about the stems during the process. You're still up? Oh my gosh. Go to bed, man. That's heroic. I don't think I could function staying up that late. Sweet. Oh, awesome. No, man. I hear you, man. I'm on the edge of running out of motivation here as well. During this part, Filmmaker 44 on YouTube, I'm actually not worrying too much about Divisi at the moment. Well, I guess I am. I'm thinking about it. Cellos and violas. They're all playing stuff that works together nicely. Violins have got that melody going up. Cellos are keeping the rhythm. It's always in the back of my mind, but I'm not limited by it. Like with these trombones down here, I don't care if I'm using a couple too many notes in the trombone chords. The kind of music I'm writing doesn't need to stay orchestrally true. Although I do keep it in the back of my mind. If it starts sounding too thick and fake, then I will adjust it. And I think I will actually in some of these chords. This needs percussion. Yeah, Steps of Life, if you can tell me which one it is, I don't know if you know, if you're able to tell, I could probably tell you where to get it. But I'm unsure which one they used on there. I don't keep up to date with my TV placements as much. Oh, I think I want to keep that harmony different in the cellos. No, maybe it's in the violas. There it is. Yeah, I'm using Contact with a bunch of samples in it, Capitan on Twitch. Sorry, all this stuff probably makes no sense at the moment. Hopefully it'll make sense soon. Band Geek, you made it. Quite good work, eh? And I want something else to come in on that long note with a little sweet line. I love drawing people's attention to different places. So horns have people's attentions at the start. Now they hang on a note and the cello's about to come in. Subtle. Maybe I should leave it, not overdo it. Am I Hans Zimmer? I wish Zolier on Twitch. Not quite. Although this does sound very HZ, doesn't it? What advice would you give me that I can improve my song structure skill? Oh, that's a really good question. For me, it's all about having something that is identifiable. So trying to find a hook. So for me, not trying to throw too many different random things in all the time. So I usually follow a pretty specific formula where I'll come up with a main melody, and I always make sure that that is prominent throughout the piece. It always comes back to that. It's a familiarity. It's about building familiarity with the people that are listening. If you're constantly throwing new ideas at people all the time, it's hard for them to follow you. So you kind of got to you got to kind of lead them through the process of following your song. So here, I had one idea and I've played it for ages. Da, 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 da. And you'll hear this for the first 30 seconds. But I know already, since I've introduced that, that's not the only time people are going to hear that. That's going to come back in the end in a massive way. I'm not sure how yet, but it's going to. And it's going to mess people up. Because I'm going to take them on a journey. There's going to be stuff that's going to happen in between, but we're going to come back to it. Now, I've just happened to introduce another melody here. And it's contrasting. Have you noticed how the other melody was tension building? Da, 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 da. This melody is open, big tension release. So, And I'm not going to introduce any more melodies now. Any stuff that I introduce in this song from now on is going to either enhance it or not design. It's not going to distract from it too much. It's just going to add to it a little bit. So I'm going to limit myself to those two main ideas. And by sticking to a limited number of main ideas for any, I think it works in all genres too. And you hear this kind of technique used a lot. Doesn't mean I'm going to play with those now. I'm going to see how I can make those sound a bit fresh and new in the piece, but I'm gonna stick to those two ideas. Yeah. Anyway, that's working for me at the moment, and I hear it a lot in a lot of music, cinematic music, as well as well, heaps of other genres. Pop music, it's used all the time in pop music. Think about it, verse chorus kind of structure, almost kind of deal. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. This is all with MIDI. Zolia. This is cool, man. I got some Twitch chatters. I'm streaming to both YouTube and Twitch at the same time, just because I have a little bit of a following on YouTube, but none on Twitch. So it's cool to see some Twitch peeps. Yeah, it's very Batman-y, isn't it? Oh, Dirk. Morning, brother. That chord, nah. I gotta make that stand out, so I'll add a hit to that. Maybe some timpani rolls or something. There's a lot I gotta fill out on this yet. Twitch is where the cool peeps are. I can't disagree with that. Hey, about YouTube, you're not bad either. At the moment, Twitch is way more chatty than YouTube, so good on you, man. And there's only 3 of you, and there's like 17, 18 YouTube people. I know, right? I've never used FL Studio, but I know a lot of people that do. Alright, let's sort out that choir. I've decided I want to put it in there because it's good. Let's make it not so abrupt. G'day, interesting mate. How do I inspire myself during creative droughts? Brendan asks on YouTube. Well, I would say that during this is the 3rd stream I've done on this track now. I mean, they've been real short, nasty ones. I wasn't intending on writing anything. But I've been feeling like I've been in a bit of a drought. I can't come up with ideas. If you've been following me, you would have seen I'm just trying to push through it. I don't really believe in the whole you got to be inspired to create something thing. For me, I think it's more about hard work than being inspired. And then that hard work then comes up with something that then inspires you. Do you know what I mean? Like I came up with that da, 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 da thing yesterday. I was fiddling around for ages trying to come up with something, and I was not inspired at all. But by just keeping on persisting, something semi-cool came out that's been done before, I'm sure. And that then inspired me. I'm like, oh, it's funny how one idea that you come up with can then inspire a whole bunch more. So I don't look externally for inspiration. I just keep at it and I persist even though I'm sick to death of it. And then I get inspired because something happens. Sorry if that was a really long answer to a really short question. I'm always wearing this sweater. What are you talking about? I am. I actually do always wear this sweater. Hey, man. I read this article that made me feel better about it. It said that successful people wear the same thing every day. So I'm sticking to it, man. I'm sticking to it. If it may, if it helps make me successful, I'm gonna wear this damn sweater till I die. If you are given a full orchestra in real life, could you write a piece? I think that's the hardest music making. Yeah, I've done it just a few months ago. I did some orchestral recordings for a trailer album, which is about to. I think it just got released to the industry. I'm not sure when it'll be made public, but that's a lot of fun. I love that. But if I'm honest, I love writing for this just as much as for real orchestras. So, my Twitch URL is hey Twitch. The YouTube people want to know where the Twitch hangout is. It's where the cool people are. Hey Twitch. See how much I love choirs and the intensity that they bring, man. That is so much more intense. I haven't even added percussion to that section yet. I might not even add it yet. We'll see. I'm just trying to get into Twitch now, Dirk. I've watched it I stream gamers. I watch gamers on there all the time, and I love it. And I thought, man, it's a pretty cool platform. But so I thought I'd stream there as well to see if we could gain a bit of momentum. Band geek. Do you know what sucks? Yeah, look, the name Robinson is so common. That's what it is. There's so many people, and there's another Blake Robinson who's amazing as well out there who does music too, which is it sucks because we get our names get confused all the time, but he's a good dude as well. Does a lot of video game orchestral remakes. It's funny that we just happen to be both in the orchestral world, but very talented dude as well. How did you find me through the other Blake? That's funny. Because if you Google Blake Robinson, man, the other Blake dominates. He's super popular. He's a legend. That's actually why I go under the name Blakis, you know? There's a fun fact for you. The name Blakis is a nickname my mum used to call me when I was a kid. I'm like, well, how am I going to... People getting confused all the time, so what the heck am I going to do? All right, I'll just use my little kitty nickname, Blakis. There you go. Blakis the Snakeus. It's hard to hide from your real name, though. It comes up all the time. Like, now I'm doing work for a bunch of, you know, contacts. You need to use your real name. You can't just go around calling yourself Blakis. So it is, or it'll always be a bit of an issue, but there's nothing you can really do about it. Oh, awesome. Oh, good on him. Spreading the word. I love it. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. I want to do something cool on that chord. I don't know what. Probably just a sub drop or something. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's just do it. Sub drops, where are you? It is not. It's not weird to listen to film soundtracks, man. You are not alone. Film soundtracks are awesome to listen to. I haven't used any timpani in this yet. If I'm not going to do percussion heavy stuff in this section, sometimes timpani rolls can add sick intensity. Yeah, I wouldn't put timpani rolls in if I'm doing other percussive stuff though, because it gets pretty muddy down there in the low mids. Don't say different music. Say you listen to Hans Zimmer. You listen to the best music. You listen to film music. That's right. People will be like, what? What? Or just say epic music. Although if you listen to the piano stuff, I guess it's a different kind of epic. No, don't like it. Makes it too muddy. Takes away from the openness. My violins are not doing anything in this section. Wonder if I should add them to the frenzy of spiccatos. There's already enough sustain going on in the brass, so... This program is Cubase, Chainsy. It's like Logic. Very similar. I hear something. Really fast arpeggios in the violins. Not super articulate, but kind of giving the sweeping kind of sound. I'm trying to get more movement in this because there's a lot of sustain. See if it works. It could flop, but who cares? this is one of those situations where I should slow down the track because I'm not as good enough to play that in real time speed. But what I'm probably going to end up doing is trying to play it real time and then failing miserably and wishing that I did slow it down. Let's see what happens. The strings I'm using all these ones are just custom ones at the moment, Dirk. Okay, so I can't even hear them at the moment. Might be too high up there. Right kind of idea, I think. Something like that could work. Just gotta figure out how to execute it. I think I like it better down lower. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the chords should keep going up um, to add to the whole feeling of it getting bigger. I really like Cinematic Studio strings. If you're after a good string library, I reckon that's awesome. Probably even a bit better than what I'm using now. Same with Hollywood strings. Great libraries. Yeah, if you want to get into it, I mean, you can spend a lot of money, but I don't think you have to. Like there are some good options out there that, I mean, it's going to cost a little bit, but you don't have to go crazy with it. Like some people I know. Yeah, I'm talking about me. Can't hear it. I need to turn it up. After all that big build up too. Bloody hell. Let me duplicate this track and I'll turn up the duplicate because I've got all this stuff balanced at a volume that I like at the moment. And if ever I want to change the volume of something fairly significantly to fit it into the mix, I usually always do it to a duplicate channel so that I'm not messing up the volume balance of the orchestra that I've already set up that works for me. So I'm departing now from traditional orchestral balance, but I don't care because this isn't really a traditional orchestra song. It's so easy to get into. I love it. I love this kind of music. Just speaks so much. I love it. Yeah, a lot of people when they hear the stuff that I write, they go, "Man, it must be messed up inside your head. What the hell goes on in your?" But I'm not really. I don't get into the I'm just writing stuff that I think sounds good. You know what I mean? And I just happen to love that kind of deep emotional sound. People think that I'm thinking nasty sort of depressing stuff, but I'm really not. I'm happy as. Okay, I got an idea. I don't know how to do it, but I think the way that I'm repeating this string stuff is too fast. I don't like it. It's grating on my ears. But I think what would work is if I went. I know I look like and sound like an idiot, but I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I'll do my bit over the top of it. See if you can get what I mean. I think that's a better back and forth motion than so half timing it basically. Um There's a link to my setup, Sean, on YouTube, if you were wanting to look at what kind of RAM I'm using and stuff like that. Yeah, I hear you, Zolia. Zola. I don't know how to say your name. Sorry, man. Zolea? 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 I mix and master it myself, Ring Champ. Yeah. I'm pretty fussy with that stuff, so I like to try and have control over that side of things as well, because I feel like it's a big part. Zole. I hope I'm doing it right, man. I'm an Aussie man who is terrible with my pronunciation. Um, yeah. So, oh, thanks, Leon. Good to see you on here, man. Night, Capitan. Thanks for joining, man. Okay, let's figure out the notes I'll have to use to make that violin arpeggio work. So I did want to do this. I got to use twice as many notes to make it go twice as long. Yeah, let's see if that kind of thing works. Sorry about my keyboard mashing. I've never really made music while watching a film. Oh, apart from doing short film scores here and there, and doing trailers don't count as films, but I do often get visual to the trailer that I have to write music to and write music that way. That's fun. I like trying to time stuff to, to sync with key moments. It's turning out more complicated than I thought. I think a lot of people compose without reverb, but I compose with it because I want it to sound good while I'm doing it. I know it's going to sound fine when I back off the reverb as well, but for me, it helps me to get into it more, so I use it. The biggest work I've probably done on is probably the orchestration and programming for Beauty and the Beast movie trailer, which broke the record for the number of views in the first 24 hours. It was like something ridiculous, like 100 and something million views or something across Facebook and YouTube in the first few hours. Then after that, it's probably this. I've had a bunch of movie trailer placements for The Hobbit 3 and a few other Disney movies. The stuff I'm working on lately is the Battlefront 2 campaign with EA, and that's pretty fun. I don't really have a lot of huge things under my belt. Just enjoying writing at the moment. All right, let's slow this down. Because I do want to. I think if I programmed all these notes of these arpeggios, it would sound very, very computerized. Do you know what I mean? On these fast notes. I do want it to sound not messy, a little bit messy, because if you listen to real orchestras trying to do this stuff, they sound a bit messy as well. A bit messy for that kind of thing actually sounds cool and adds to the energy. If it's all totally quantized, then it sounds very fake because real players just can't emulate that kind of tight sound at that speed. So I'm not going to do something and then quantize it. I'm going to try and slow it down and play it in real time. It's going to be messy and I'll probably go into the MIDI then and then tweak things that are way out just with my mouse, but I'm not going to quantize it. We'll see how it goes. Hey, NRG. Hey, I know you from YouTube. Yeah, so I've done a couple of big things. Zole. I want to get it right, man. Yeah, that's right. It kind of averages out in the end because all the players are kind of sticking to their own thing, and then you end up getting this average of the right part rather than everyone nailing the right part. But the average and those differences between the players are what make it sound kind of cool. And if I really cared about it, I would probably go through and do 2 takes of this with 2 different sounds to try and get a bit of that variation. Because the only problem at the moment is when I hit this note, they're all hitting it exactly right. So I might even actually do that. We'll experiment with it and see. I've got another sound here that I use, which is kind of like a tremolo sort of sound that can be handy for this kind of sound, for these kind of runs too. I'll show you what I mean. So that has a bit of variation built into it because it's a tremolo. So oh wow, I need to hold down the button. I've been talking without holding it down. Yeah, that sound I just played should add a bit of life when I layer it with the staccatos as well. Zole. 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 Oh, yeah, man, that's good. Thanks, man. I know now. I know. I know how to say it. Slow motion. All right, let's do this. I can't play this at all, man. Maybe I do just have to program it in. Wow. I'm just going to leave that in there, even though it's messy. I even played the wrong chords in there a bit. I just want to see if something like that is actually going to work. If it is, then I'll leave it. If it's not, then I'll just delete it. Or if it is, I'll make it better, obviously. But not now. I'm overdoing that for now. Bring the song back up. I don't really run into that very much. I think because I'm streaming as well, my CPU's not keeping up as well. So what I'm going to do is well, I'm going to fix that chord first because that's bugging me more than I thought it would. So, beauty of individual contact tracks is I can go up here and just click this freeze button. It should work. If it crashes, it's going to be embarrassing. Which will it renders it to audio basically. So I can't make any changes to that for now, but that's okay. I don't want to. Or another way is to right click and go render in place, which is actually probably the better option. But for now, I'll just do this. Okay, do you think it's better to set the reverb in your template before? Yeah, I do have it built in, but I do find that I change it up for each project. So I adjust it a bit depending on the complexity of the song and the speed of it and what's playing and stuff like that. So it's good to have something built in, I think, but it's also good to be flexible with it. Get what I mean with this moving string line? It's giving momentum. Instead of everything just going, bleh, now there's something there that's driving it. Now there's room for other stuff to actually support that. So let's do it. It's messy, so I'll fix it up. And sometimes what I do for fast runs like that is I'll actually, I'll double it in the woodwinds, because woodwinds are great at doing that kind of thing too. Except they couldn't sustain it. I'd need to leave gaps for breaths for them, which I might not even do in this. Who knows? But I might copy and paste that straight into the flutes and see if it works. This is going to be bad. You ready? What I'll do to give them breath, I'll just allow them to not play those lower notes, because it is a bit of a stretch and the flutes don't sound that great down there anyway. They have a little break. I just did it for the trailers, Zolaire. Oh, gee. Struggle to find the chord much there, Blakis. Couple of wrong notes there, but I just want to see if this is going to work. Yeah, it was actually scary doing that job. I always get a bit nervous doing jobs for the big names and the big companies and stuff, because they do have pretty high expectations. Um, it's good though. I do like it. Like, I stress a bit, but it can only be a good thing for me, I assume. Yeah, I did build my own PC, Matthew. Um, it's not too tricky. Some good videos on YouTube that show you how to do it if you're not sure. This is very low for a flute. Stands out a bit too much, the octave up. Could come in useful later in the piece though. Even though it's really low for it, I'm just going to leave it in there for now. Got sustained basses. I want to fix up those notes, but I won't yet. But I think I'm going to add some bass staccatos as well. This is the beauty of doing sampled instruments, even though the basses are playing sustains. Let's make them do different articulations as well and layer it. You know, even with real orchestras for real movies and stuff these days, they'll get the players to do one thing and then they'll re-record them doing another thing as well. It's not necessarily bad. Especially for this kind of music, it helps. baby face.
Deadly Gus.
Good to see you, baby. How was the game last night, man? Missed you. Do I look older without a cap on? Oh yeah, I did the Mass Effect trailer as well. That's awesome. Thanks, man. Oh, bugger. Sorry, guys. You should have stayed with us. You would have won. I think I'm liking this track more now that I've added that movement in the violins. To me, that sounds way better. I'm starting to dig it. Before it was a bit boring. It's going somewhere. Giuseppe on YouTube. I'm using Valhalla Room reverb. For people who are interested. Yes, the Embertone Blakers cello is named after me, Sean, on YouTube. Here's the settings that I'm using at the moment for my reverb. It's called the Blade Runner preset in Valhalla Room. The plugin's only $50, man, and it's better than plugins that are hundreds of bucks. So if you don't have it, you should have it because I'm using it now for everything. Yeah, that Embertone Blakers cello, I slaved away in a small room for 2 weeks playing cello noises for ages, and yeah, it was fun a couple of years ago, but I don't really want to do it ever again. It's like solitary confinement, torture tactics. Obviously, lots missing. So many things I could do here, just deciding which ones to do. Oh no, I need to continue that synth first of all, because that's a big part of the sound. Okay, some timing issues there, which I'll quantize. Probably should turn that up a bit too. I do like the sound of it. Thanks, Band Geek. I'm glad you like it, man. Whoa, that was out of time. There needs to be more stuff. Some kind of impact. Okay, first of all, let's just work on that main downbeat. We know we're going to want a big gong. Because when don't we want a big gong in a moment like this? Morning, Marcus. Good to see you again. Marcus on YouTube, that is, for Twitch people who are wondering why I'm talking to people that don't exist. Let me reduce the intensity of that. I don't want the impact so much from that as I do the air from that. I want impact from other things, which I will get from my piatti, which is a fancy word for cymbals. And let's do a cymbal roll. This needs a cymbal roll. Okay, so we've got the top end of the impact sorted out. Roll on the cymbal into a cymbal hit and a gong hit. Let's get the bottom of the impact sorted out. Thanks, Marcus. Okay, we could go simple, but it's not going to be enough for that big moment. We have choices. The brass is custom stuff, Marcus. I'm not using any sample modeling or 8DO at the moment. We could go that, which is pretty hardcore. Let's try it. Let's see if it's over the top. Obviously, it's not in time. Now, with these big hits that have like a big boom at the end, often that boom at the end can be way too much, so I often chop them off early. The main thing I want is the build and the hit, because I want the orchestra to take over the sustain after. I don't want that big to take up all the mixed space. Sometimes that's enough, depending on what's around it. We'll see if that's enough. Like the cymbals are still going to ring, the orchestra's going full steam ahead. I've already got a sub synth bass hanging on a note, so I don't really need the rumble. Just introduces more mix issues, but sometimes it works. Sometimes I leave it in. I'll see which way we'll go for this. Could do with a bit of rumble. Yeah, because there's not a lot, because I don't have booming percussion going in this. There's not a lot of low mid sort of bass happening in this. So there might be room for the rumble in this case. It's maybe just a bit much though. I like the impact volume. All right. See you, Laurie. Laurie? Ah, good old keyboard drumming, eh? Doesn't get any more epic than that, eh? Bashing two keys. Maybe throw some bro bams in. What the hang are bro bams, man? Come on, I tried your bro soons yesterday. Bro bams, bro bams, bro bams. You're gonna have to explain that one, man. Sounds like the beginning. Dinner is served by Hans Zimmer. I'll have to listen to that. I reckon this sounds like a bunch of Zimmer stuff, actually. But I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, y'all. It's cool. It's cool, y'all. By the time I'm probably done with it, it'll still sound similar, but hopefully it sounds different enough. I'll be right back. The time has come for me to depart. Appreciate you guys joining me in the stream today. Holy cow. Nearly 3 hours. Got nearly nothing done at all, man. It's been fun. Thanks, guys. I will probably start I'll do another one tomorrow, maybe. Depends on if a job comes through that I have to get done or not. But guys, thanks so much. It's been fun interacting with you again. I'll catch you next time.